All right. And I know some of you guys are going to go number 4, the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay. I'm going to have my reasons. And partially, it is oh my gosh. When I had to rank these teams, I was doing notes. I really made a full, I was doing research. I was getting into it. I was like, okay, where do I rank? The number 1 spot was easy for me. It was very, very easy. 2 through 3 was about as difficult as it gets. But I have a little bit of a fear with the Chargers, and I have a little bit of an excitement for the Chargers. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I think they did a lot of big things to potentially prevent what my fears are about this team. And you're going to see on the title of this video, can the Chargers get out of their own way? Historically, this team has not been able to do that. Collapses, blown leads, chaotic losses. There's 5 losses that I want to point out to you guys that they had no business losing. It was the Rams game. That is my losses predictions. I'm reading alongside. Okay. It was the Texans, the pre-Wilson Broncos, a blowout against Baltimore that shouldn't have happened, an overtime collapse against the Raiders. Okay, I guess 4. But all of those marked what scares me about the Chargers. The Texans, for one, the Chargers had a lot of momentum, and it could have easily prevented an overtime collapse against the Raiders, but they don't necessarily need to worry about a tie or have Las Vegas do something to help them out inadvertently. That loss against the Texans with a rising Davis Mills, that should not have happened. The Chargers are a much more talented team than that. The pre-Wilson Broncos, I think that the Broncos team last year, in terms of quarterbacking, Justin Herbert should have been able to rise above that. I know that Denver team is talented, but that Chargers team has to win these kind of games, and it's only going to get tougher against a Russell Wilson Broncos in the future. And we're going to talk about Russell Wilson and what that means for the Broncos in the future. Or, well, yeah, I guess like 10 minutes when I record it. But for you guys, you might watch this video and then another 2 days you'll watch the Broncos thing. But I think for the Chargers, it's important that they start strong and they start consistently. This is a team that has all the talent in the world to win the Super Bowl. They signed J.C. Jackson, got Khalil Mack in the offseason. They re-signed star wide receiver Mike Williams, who is one of the best 50-50 ball guys, in the entire league. So they have a ton of talent. So part of it was, for me, is Brandon Staley exactly the guy? Because there's a lot of questionable things that he did, calling timeout in overtime. When you have it secured, basically they had a handshake agreement to go to the overtime together. They would have both made the playoffs. It was the craziest ending I've ever seen. I think I've seen the clip of Austin Eckler, and he was like, man, I think we had that. So there's a lot of good about the Chargers. Let me talk about that for a second. I think they have a rising star in Justin Herbert, and that stardom is only going to continue to grow. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best arm talents in the league, rivals Patrick Mahomes. It is a league where the quarterback matters, and having that is super important to the foundation of a franchise and super important to the foundation of a roster, and the Chargers have that. Was Justin Herbert necessarily the problem last year? I don't think so. I think he was fine. I think in certain games he might have been a little too erratic with the football, but the talent is there, and if he plays to what we think he can, the sky is the limit. But there's just a couple things about the Chargers that just scare me. Sometimes the run game falls apart. Sometimes they're not able to play a consistent football game. There was a game against Pittsburgh where it was two total halves. Pittsburgh dominated them for a half. Their defense was completely all over the place, and then the Chargers came back and ended up dominating that game in the second half and winning it. There's those things that in this new division now, and this is why I have them at 4th, in this new division, if they play like that and lose games against potentially, maybe they play the Falcons and then they blow that game and the Falcons blow them out of the water. I'm not sure if they play the Falcons necessarily. I know a couple AFC West teams do, but if they play a lower tier team and don't show up, that could be the game that decides a 7 seed or a 6 seed in a division that's so loaded where you're going to be battling against top tier teams, Super Bowl contending teams. You got to be able to show up. Can the Chargers get out of their own way? I certainly don't think so. And I think I need Brandon Staley to have another year to prove it to me to be able to win this kind of division and get past that number 4 spot. It's super important that they stay strong, start consistent, and ride with Justin Herbert and ride with these new signings. J.C. Jackson, lockdown corner, Khalil Mack, all perennial defender, can do so much on the field. They have the talent, but can they get out of their own way? We'll have to see and find out. Okay, and it's now time. I'm like the game show announcer. It's time for our number 3 spot in the Las Vegas Raiders.